नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वती
Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Veerahe
Tato Jayam Veerahe
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtarayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Dikta Vishnuke
Bhagavate Namaskroke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki
Bhakti Bhavati Naishiki.
So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, Sloka number 17. Vayam pramattasya vanashvapi syat. Vayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat. Yatasa aste sahashat sapatnaha. Jitendriyasya rate budasya. Grihashrama kimno karotyavadyam. Vayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat. Yatasa aste sahashat sapatnaha. Jitendriyasyaatmarate budasya. Grihashrama kimno karotyavadyam. Vayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat. Yatasa aste sahashat sapatnaha. Jitendriyasyaatmarate budasya. Grihashrama kimno karotyavadyam.
Hayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat.
Vayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat.
Yatasa aste sahashat sapatnaha. Jitendriyasyaatmarate budasya. Grihashrama kimno karotyavadyam.
Vayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syat. Yatasa aste sahashat sapatnaha. Jitendriyasyaatmarate budasya. Grihashrama kimno karotyavadyam.
Okay, go to a meaning. Bhayam, fear. Pramattasya, of one who is bewildered. Aneshu, in forest. Api, even. Syat, there must be. Yataha, because. Saha, he. One who is not self-controlled. Aste, is existing. Saha, with. Shat sapatnaha, 6 co-wives. Jita indriyasya, for one who has already conquered the senses. Atmaratehe, self-satisfied. Buddhasya, for such a learned man. Griha ashramaha, household life. King, what, no, indeed, karoti, can do, avatyam, harm. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Even if he goes from forest to forest, one who is not self-controlled must always fear material bondage because he is living with 6 co-wives, the mind and knowledge acquiring senses. Even householder life, however, cannot harm a self-satisfied learned man who has conquered his senses. Purport: Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung Grihe va vane thake, ha gauranga bhale rakhe. Whether one is situated in the forest or at home, if he is engaged in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya, he is a liberated person. Here this is also repeated. For one who has not controlled his senses, going to the forest to become a so-called yogi is meaningless. Because his uncontrolled mind and senses are going with him, he cannot achieve anything, even by giving up household life and staying in the forest. Formerly, many mercantile men from the upcountry of India used to go to Bengal, and thus there is a familiar saying, if you go to Bengal, your fortune will go with you. For our first concern, therefore, should be to control the senses, and since the senses cannot be controlled unless engaged in devotional service of the Lord, our most important duty is to engage the senses in devotional service. Rishikesha, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchati. Bhakti means engagement in the purified senses, engagement of the purified senses in the service of the Lord. Herein, Lord Brahma indicates that instead of going to the forest with uncontrolled senses, it is better and more secure to engage the senses in the service of the Lord. Even household life can do no harm to a self-controlled person acting in this way. It cannot force him into material bondage. Srila Rupa Goswami has further enunciated this position. Iha yasya hare dashe karmana manasa gira nikilashva api avastashu jivan mukta savichyate. Regardless of one's circumstances, if one fully engages his activities, mind and words in the devotional service of the Lord, he should be understood to be a liberated person. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a responsible officer and a householder, yet his service to the cause of expanding the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is unique. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says, Durdante Indriya Kala Sarpa Patami Prodkhatadam Strayate. The sense organs are certainly our greatest enemies, and they are therefore compared to venomous serpents. However, if a venomous serpent is bereft of its poison fangs, it is no longer fearful. Similarly, if the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no need to fear their activities. The devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement move within this material world, but because their senses are fully engaged in the service of the Lord, they are always aloof from the material world. They are always living in a transcendental position. Om Jnana Timirandasya Lanjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa-Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Radha Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagratam Sagrana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Radha Sarvana Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nikanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Saprakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavadishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see this amazing shloka where Brahmaji is mentioning that even if we go from forest to forest, or even if we assume the role of a mendicant, our six like one who's not self-controlled, the 6 co-wives, they actually go with the person. So they are the mind and the 5 knowledge-acquiring senses. So, but on the other case, even if a person is a householder, so if he is self-satisfied and learned, so then no harm is there for him, right? So this is a very important thing. So yesterday a similar kind of a discussion was we were having. So the aspect of, we were describing this particular shloka, Salokya Sarashti Samipya, Salokya Sarokya Sarashti Samipya Ekatam Api Uta Viyamanam Na Drunanti Vinamat Sevanam Jana. Right? So this, in this, like Lord is mentioning about the aspect that even if I give my devotees, so liberation, like the 5 kinds of liberation, so they are not willing to take, and why they are not willing to take? Vinamat Sevanam. So, like the whole point is that, even if we go back to Godhead, so our prime need is that we want some service, right? So without service, so the devotee is not interested in going back to Godhead. So that's an improbable situation that somebody is going back to Godhead and there is no service for him. So, and then somebody is going back to Godhead like without attitude of service. So that is all impossible this ones. But still, categorically the Lord actually mentions this thing that even if I call my devotee, you come back to Godhead and itna seva kiya, like बहुत ज़्यादा like आपको सताया गया, अभी आके थोड़ा picnic enjoy करो. So he'll say no, I want service. No, that is that is the lifeline of a devotee, right? So then one devotee asked this question that we are engaged in service so that we become purified. So like even after going back to Godhead, like they are interested in purification or they are afraid of falling down or something like that. So why they have to do service? Like is it the motivation is that we have to be pure? Like for that purpose, for what is the purpose? So then I was mentioning. So this is our basic relationship. Just like an employer is there, an employee is there. So the purity of the employee is to work for the employer, and more actual. This one is husband and wife. The purity of the wife is to render service to the husband, right? So that is the purity, and it is not. They are not doing it to maintain the purity. It is a natural relationship actually. So in the same way here also we see that we are part and parcel of the Lord and servant of the Lord, and we are doing service to the Lord not to maintain purity or not to fight for somehow or other to remove the material contamination or something like that. Maybe that is the initial phase. But later on, when the purified souls, they engage in the relationship because the relationship itself is so amazing. So Krishna is so attractive, and there is no fear that I have to maintain my purity and that's why I have to render service to the Lord. So that is not the case over there. So it is the key thing is this one. So then the question came that, then why is the Lord mentioning this particular point? So in this sloka, Salokya Sarokya Sarashti. So in that, so the point is that Lord is highlighting, it is not because of the environment, it is not because of some external setting. My devotees wants to come to this one Vaikuntha planet. So they want to come because they are engaged in my service, and here also they want to be engaged in the service. And the key thing that is actually keeping them intact is this service actually. So in the very same way, here also we see that it is not an encouragement that people don't need to take to renounced ashram. Be self-controlled and be there in renounced ashram. So it is not. That is not the point. The point is that we have to control our senses. So that's the key point. It doesn't matter which ashram you are in. So. And then why at all renounced ashram is there? So that is also a point that will come. So we will discuss about that. So we see that the purport, Prabhupada starts with saying, Narottam Das Thakur, he has sung, Griha mein bane take, ha Gauranga bole dake. So always call out the names of Gauranga, right? And Prabhupada writes it as always be engaged in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya. So when we do this thing, whether we are there at home or at forest or at renounced ashram, so be it wherever position he is a liberated person. So one important thing is that the renounced ashram, so the people in the renounced ashram, they should not think that all the people at home are fallen. No, that should not be the case, because liberated person, anywhere they can be liberated. So it is the person in the renounced ashram should think that I would have not been able to control my senses, with a sense object by my side. So that is why I am like this. And the person in the Grahastha ashram should think that these people are better, they are able to give up the sense object, how nice they are. So our whole principle is that somehow or other we should maintain the mood of humility, that I am fallen and rest of them are better off, right? So that is very, very essential. So in fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in fact when a person takes sannyas, it is not necessary for him to offer obeisances to anybody, right? So because they are the highest in the rung of in the social realm, so they don't need to offer obeisances to anyone else. They can accept the respects and obeisances from other class of people. So, but then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that I have taken sannyas for the purpose of remembering the Lord more seriously, remembering the Lord more intensely, and for the purpose of offering obeisances, for the purpose of offering respects to all the Vaishnavas. So like that, so the mood of Vaishnava sannyas is different. So wherein a sannyasi is not expected to offer respects to others, but then he still offers, because he wants to remain humble, he wants to remain, always he wants to feel himself the lowest, and then in that state he is able to actually access Krishna, in a very, very, in a very nice way, in a very powerful way, he is able to access Krishna. So this is a very important thing. In whichever position we are, so we should take advantage of becoming humble, in that particular position. So not to become very proud about that particular position. So this is also a very good point, for the devotees in the renounced ashram, that they should feel humble, because anywhere they can be, people in any ashram, so they can be liberated and they can achieve the goal of life, right? So it is only purpose that we take to the renounced ashram is that so we are able to get more time to execute Krishna consciousness. That's the only purpose. We are able to give time to the missionary activities. We are able to think and plan and do everything for Krishna. So we don't have any other business throughout the day. So that is the prime cause. So rest apart from that, achieving the goal and going back to Godhead and everything can be done in any of the ashrams. So that is not a impediment at all, right? Provided the devotee is serious. A serious devotee will go from anywhere. And here this is also repeated. So for one who has not controlled his senses, going to the forest and to become a so-called yogi is meaningless, because his uncontrolled mind and senses are going with him and he cannot achieve anything even by giving up the household life and staying in the forest. Formerly, many mercantile men, so they used to go from the upcountry of India, used to go to Bengal. So I'm thinking that this is like a famous phrase Prabhupada is mentioning, if you go to Bengal, your fortune will go with you. तो बाकी लोग बोलते हैं उधर जाके अमीर नहीं बनेंगे you are not able to make a business successful here even if you go to Bengal also, that was a very good market at that point in time. Even if you go there, your good your ill luck will go with you only, your fortune will go with you. So our first concern therefore should be to control the senses. And since so the next point is a different section. So here we see that the first and foremost business is to control the senses, and this very same thing is discussed in Bhagavad Gita also. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita we see that Krishna is giving so many different arguments, Arjuna is giving so many different arguments and Krishna is answering. So this argument is also there that Arjuna wants to go to the forest, he wants to renounce, and then Krishna mentions that you see you are so much affected by your family members and by things that are happening at the material plane. So this is not the time for you to take up to the renounced ashram. So it is time for us to engage the senses properly. So why not we engage the senses in the renounced ashram? So why only in the householder life we should engage? So it is very important in the renounced ashram. So we are renouncing a lot of the important activities which engage the senses. Right? So it is very essential that a person lives amongst the lives in the grahastha life and control his senses, or in the brahmachari life or something like that. He controls his senses before he takes up to renounced ashram. So, if this is not done, so he will be giving up his varnashram duties, and which is very effectively engaging his senses. So, and giving up that, and he takes up to renounced ashram, wherein his only this one is study of scriptures and chanting the names of the Lord and things like that, wherein he is not having attraction to this, and he is having attraction to the sense objects. And what is the benefit of being in the being in the grahastha ashram? So the sense objects are provided, and then with he has to use the sense objects in a dharmic way. So when he does this thing, so his senses become purified. So, or he should engage in sadhana nicely, either in brahmachari life or in the grahastha life or vanaprastha life. And if he becomes purified, if he feels that the senses are purified, so then he can actually take on to the renounced ashram of life. So the sannyas life. So it is not recommended that a person takes sannyas wherein his mind is not controlled. So his senses are not controlled. So controlled means naturally being attracted to Krishna, naturally being engaged in service of Krishna. So if that is not there, so then he should not falsely accept this renounced ashram of life, right? So this is nicely put forward, and Krishna also mentions to Arjuna that for you fighting is better than going to the forest, because your mind is not controlled. So it is better to do the prescribed duties that is ordained for your particular ashrama. So that is the particular varana and ashrama. So that is better for you. In that way you will purify your senses, and later on, you may take to the renounced order of life. So, and here, Prabhupada is giving the next section, very amazing section. He is telling that since the senses cannot be controlled unless engaged in devotional service of the Lord, our most important duty is to engage the senses in devotional service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyati. So bhakti means engagement of the purified senses in the service of the Lord. So we mentioned, so bhakti is the reality of life, right? The reality is that, so we are part and parcel of the Lord, and we are servants of the Lord, and we are meant to render service to the Lord. And how will we render service to the Lord? By the way of using the senses. That's the, in some places it is mentioned as karana. Karana means that thing which is helping us to do some karma is called karana. So instruments. So the senses are the instruments through which we can do anything. So this is the vent. This is the vent through which all our activities can be performed. So that particular this one should be used in the service of the Lord. And that too, it is not now what we are using our senses in the service of the Lord, that is not considered to be full bhakti. That is kind of practicing bhakti. It's we are trying to be there in the system. So, but then when we use the purified senses in the service of the Lord, so that time it actually takes the complete meaning of bhakti. Otherwise it is, we are trying to be a devotee. We are trying to get into the path. So, but we have not been able to perfect ourselves. Yet. So that is the state of the sadhakas. So here it is mentioned, sarva upadi vinirmuktam, right? So giving up all other designations, that I am a male or a female, or I am employee of a certain company, or whatever may be, all other designations are given up. And anytime, a devotee is constantly able to imagine that, or feel the reality, imagine me. So feel the reality that he is servant of the Lord, So then that is called the real purified senses, So with the purified senses, then when he is engaged in the service of the Lord, so then that becomes the real bhakti. Right? So before that it is called practice. So one time one devotee was mentioning, it's when we are offering our service to the Lord, it is offering sweet rice to the Lord. And with contaminated senses, when we are offering service to the Lord, it is thoda sa sweet rice and jada mitti. And when the Lord is accepting that, when the Lord accepts that, our sense becomes purified. and then next time thoda mitti kam hoga. No, and the Lord is actually eagerly waiting. When will we offer one day sweet rice without any mitti? That time I will relish it. So it's Lord's mercy that He is accepting, like the sweet rice with mitti, So like sweet rice with mud particles. So, but then, He is also purifying us, After we become purified, so when we offer real sweet rice, that is with purified senses, when we are engaged in service of the Lord, so that time the Lord actually relishes, Even before the Lord relishes, the Bhagavatam, in 11th canto somewhere, Lord mentions that when my devotees, like who are sadhakas, who are practicing devotees, so they are like small children. They are trying to walk up and then fall, trying to walk up and then fall. So when I see that, it gives me pleasure, Just like, parents, when they see the small children, they get up, walk and then fall and things like that. So they relish actually. So but कई साल हो गया like वैसे ही तो फिर डॉक्टर के पास जाएंगे ठीक से चल नहीं पा रहा So it becomes a concern after many years also, like the same thing continues, so then it becomes a concern. So initially chalega no, initially not chalega, initially it is relishable actually, So even the Lord relishes, a new devotee, sadhaka, like, he gets up, walks, and then he commits a material activity, and then he repents, like, what did I do? So why did I do this material activity? Why did I do this sinful activity? Or why did I commit this offense? So when the devotee actually repents like this, the Lord actually relishes, He is quite serious to attend me. He is really he is looking forward to me, and he is, he is actually repenting, for his mistakes. So the Lord actually likes that particular thing, and He relishes them. So, but then, like कई साल हो गया, like ऐसे ही करते जा रहे हैं, then the Lord also thinks कि ये तो सुधरने वाला नहीं है. So then it becomes like it is not, giving relishment to the Lord, so much. So we should also make tangible progress, So the Lord's capacity to wait is unlimited. So, but then we should not test the limit of capacity of the Lord. We should also make some progress. So then here it's mentioned, herein Lord Brahma indicates that instead of going to the forest with uncontrolled senses, it is better and more secure to engage the senses in the service of the Lord. So that is why, if you see in the Vedic times, nobody will argue which is the best ashram. Like everybody will say, like, see your condition. Whatever is your condition, accordingly you accept a particular ashram. So we should not overly promote any particular ashram. So sometimes devotees overly promote Grahastha ashram, or sometimes overly promote Brahmacharya ashram. So by joking way, like we may do so many things, but then in reality we should check which is the best place to be there for us. And for a person who can safely be there in renounced ashram, so if you forcibly put him in Grahastha ashram, he will struggle hard. And for a person who is supposed to be in Grahastha ashram, if you put him in Brahmacharya ashram, he will struggle hard. It is not a very easy, it's not a very conducive environment for him to execute his Krishna consciousness. He need to have some few problems with him, that is when he can be peaceful. Then he can execute his Krishna consciousness nicely. So, and for some people, they don't want the problem, and then they can think peacefully. So, somehow or other, by any means, we have to attain some state of peace, to execute Krishna consciousness, right? So, and here we see that, Brahmaji even mentioning, or Prabhupada is even mentioning that it is more secure, for such a person to be there in the Grahastha ashram. Even household life can do no harm to a self-controlled person acting in this way. So now this comes to another section of the purport. We see that Priyavrat Maharaj is very apt to be there in the renounced ashram. So now, Brahmaji is telling, there is a service that is there. You have to accept the kingship, and then you cannot be a yogi and be there in the kingdom. Be there as a king. No, that's not possible. So you cannot wear saffron and be there as a king. You have to accept white, and you have to accept this one, the wife also. That is when you can be there as this one. So you should accept that. So in Kali Yuga, if you would have been there, like, you would have got a better option. You can be a yogi and at the same time you can be a king also. So, but then he was there in Satya Yuga. So where there is no hypocrisy is not allowed. You know. So that is why, like, he was urged to accept the household life. And Brahmaji is mentioning that, see, you are a self-realized person, you are a self-controlled person. So, like, why are you having any doubt? Like, no, you have a bona fide service here and you should do this particular service. So, you should accept the householder life at this point in time. And this service is of great need. No, without this, like, see, like, your other brother, so he tried his best, like, no, he had his dynasty and he did his part. And it is not fair to ask the father to get into the sansar again and to maintain the kingdom. No, that is not very fair. So now it is your duty. You should perform this duty of managing this, like, this one. It is not like, no, chota mota ek ghar hai, like, and then how to maintain that family. It is not like that. So, like, some other relatives can maintain, or somebody can take charge of that family. But here, there is no boss there for the entire world. No, it's a very important role. It's not like that. छोटा मोटा एक दो चार जन को संभालने के लिए चला गया हो. So it is a greater cause actually over there, and then there is nobody is there to take care of. And Brahmaji tak, everybody are coming and telling. So they are telling that you should take up this particular role, and this service is there, and you should perform this thing. So this is an important thing. Sometimes people say that a devotee, why is he engaged in the activities of the city life? He should be going to the forest, or he should be going to some holy dham, and he should execute his Krishna consciousness there. So why should he be there in the city and execute Krishna consciousness at this place? So it is very essential to understand that a person who is properly situated in bhakti, if he gets in service, bona fide service, so then he can be there in the dham or he can be there in the city. It doesn't matter. So it is what is necessary is a bona fide service. So if we are there amidst in this materialistic environment without bona fide service of the Lord, so then that is the that is the end of bhakti. People say what you can do bhakti in the city, living in city. It is not possible at all to execute bhakti in the city. Where the materialism is in full flare, and then everybody are looking to exploit each other, and then the whole bombardment is about all about how to become more absorbed in material thoughts, right? So how can anybody practice bhakti living in the city? So but it is possible if we have a bona fide service. If we don't have any bona fide service, so then we are in the greatest of the danger. We are in the sansar sahar, so we cannot actually sustain. So it is very essential that we have a bona fide service, then we can be there. So now Brahmaji is also convincing that, see, you are in renounced ashram and you have done this job very nicely, so I am not finding fault. I am not saying that your senses are uncontrolled, so you come and get married and rule the kingdom and things like that. I am not telling that. So you have been quite amazing in discharging your duties of renounced ashram, but then there is a need at this point in there. No point in time it is there. So that is to manage the universal affair. So, and no other suitable person is there apart from you. So you should take up this thing, and you should not worry that you will fall from your position. A self-realized man, a learned man, he can be there situated in any position, and still he can maintain his position, right? So there is no harm or there is no fear, for such a person, right? So in fact, the definition of fear is that bhayam dvitiyad abhiniveshatasya ishadapetasya viparyo bhuka. So the fear means when we turn our face away from Krishna and when we are able to see dvitiya reality. So when we are able to see something else apart from Krishna exists, so then it becomes the dvitiya, right? So we see that in the what is that? Ekameva advitiya, the Supreme Lord in Prabhupada's words, it is the Lord is one without a second. The absolute truth is one without a second. So that means everything that exists is only one entity, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and rest everything that we are seeing is just his energies, and that is not different from him, right? So essentially there is only one entity that exists, and if we are able to see the second entity, like anything else that is separate, if this kartal, I am seeing that, oh, this is separate from Krishna, so then immediately my thought process is that, I have come into the Dvitiya, so then like everything, all the dangers of the material existence is open for me, like fear is there, envy is there, hatred is there, all the things will attack me. But if I am able to see everything is part and parcel of Krishna and nothing is separate from Krishna, so Vasudeva Sarvamati, so when we are able to see that particular vision, so then we are free from fear. And here, like Brahmaji is mentioning, one who is self-satisfied and learned man, who can conquer the senses, like for such a person, what harm is there? There is no harm, there is no fear, for such a person. So because he is able to see Krishna in every aspect of life, so then if he is there in the renounced ashram also, it's okay. If he is there in the grahastha ashram also, it's okay. So at this point in time, there is a need, there is a service of Krishna that is there, and that has to be executed. So for a servant of Krishna, like he is not attached to any particular ashram. So he is like, he is only worried about Krishna's service has to be discharged, right? So in that way, he should be like, here Brahmaji is convincing him, saying that, you should take up this role. So, but we are not convincing, Brahmaji is convincing. So, rather we are convincing that, like, abhi itna sara log, there was competition of people who want to rule the kingdom, So, at that point in time, so people are so humble. There is nobody wants to rule the kingdom. Usko bolna padta tha, like, tum, like, le lo, ye post le lo. And now there is so much of competition, there are so many people who want to rule the kingdom. So now we are actually convincing, at least, koi na koi to renounced ashram. So now the scenario is different. So, we should not take this in a wrong conclusion. The conclusion is that we have to control the senses, right? So that is the conclusion. The conclusion is not that you should not become a renounced ashram, right? So, okay, so then Prabhupada is quoting this, Iha esha hare prashye karmana manasa gira nikilashva abhi avasthashu jivan muktasya uchyate, right? So, if regardless of one's circumstances, if one fully engages in activities, his activities, mind and words in the devotional service of the Lord, he should be understood to be a liberated person, right? So, when we see devotees, we see these qualities, that how nicely they are engaged in Krishna consciousness, how nicely they are engaged in chanting the names of the Lord and studying Srimad Bhagavatam, engaged in preaching activities and things like that. So that is the thing that we see, and then we glorify them, saying, see like how nicely they are engaged in the service of the Lord. So, and we should give the best of the possible status to the other devotees, and we should be very, very critical about ourselves. Then we will be able to advance in Krishna consciousness. So, but if we think that if we are able to see only whatever good we are able to do and whatever faults others are able to do, so then we will not be able to make sufficient progress. We will not be able to, first of all, invoke Krishna's presence. So, to invoke Krishna's presence constantly, amani namanadena is required. So, to find fault in oneself and then to give credit to other person. So if we are not able to do this thing, so we will not be able to invoke the presence of Krishna. And if we are not able to invoke the presence of Krishna, so then the purification process doesn't start only. We will have the same set of contaminations all the time. We will not be able to make any sufficient progress in the path of Krishna consciousness. So this mood is very, very essential, that how the other devotees are better than me. What are the faults that I have. So one time, one person, he scores, all the time he scores very well, and then he was constantly in fear, I have not done this subject, I have still I have not understood this concept fully. So then somebody else told you are getting so nice mark, why are you so much afraid? So then this person told, I am so much afraid of what I don't know, that is why I am getting all the time first mark. So if I am very much confident of whatever I know, so then I will not be able to score well actually. So it is a person who is progressing, his attitude will be still so much of anarthas are there. Still so much of itna kami hai mere mein. like, no, when will I be able to overcome all these things? No, then, no, he can actually, no, go forward, no, in this one. And then he is able to see that, like, no, what other devotees, what other people are having good, no, that he is able to see. So in fact, the pinnacle of that, no, I found that in 7th canto of Bhagavatam, wherein, no, like, Narad Muni, the question was put that how Sushipal actually, entered into the body of Krishna. He did, only like, he blasphemed Krishna, no, nothing else he did. And anybody who can see Sushipal, they would say like, no, ye to, we don't need to try to find any bad things. No, only bad thing is there in him. No good at all in him. So like that is the kind of condition, Sushipal's condition is. And when Narad Muni is asked like, why, how did he actually attain liberation? How did he able to enter into the body of Krishna? And then Narad Muni is giving a big purport, saying that you see, like if you are absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord, so then you can attain, you can attain the Lord. And like you see, there are different classes of people are there. There are people like, people out of affection, they get attracted to the Lord out of parental affection, out of being a lover, and and we are general devotees, like we also perform devotional service and we are also attracted to the Lord. But in my personal opinion, nobody can be as attracted as the demons, who are like all the time who are thinking about the Lord. That is the best form of attraction. This only Narad Muni can say. Finding fault, finding good quality in Sushipal, it is like highly improbable, highly impossible actually. So only a person of caliber of Narad Muni can do this thing, So now we know Bhagavatam aisa bataya, like we can repeat. So but then in front of us some devotee comes and does something. No, Prabhuji, iske paas to kuch bhi good quality nahi hai. Ye patit se bhi patit hai. Isko pehle IBC se nikal dena. So that is why we are not able to advance in Krishna consciousness. So we are not able to see good in others and see fault in ourselves, right? So this is a very, very essential aspect actually. So now we see that, regardless of one's circumstances, if one's activities, if one is like, fully engaged in service of the Lord, so then he is considered to be liberated person. So then we should see that externally everybody are engaged in Krishna consciousness. We should see, everybody else apart from me is liberated. And what about me? I am also engaged in devotional activities, but you see the mind, like so much of bad thoughts are coming. So many distractions are happening. I am not even able to chant the names of the Lord properly. So what kind of a devotee I am? So like that is the mood that a devotee should have. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a responsible officer and a householder. Yet his service to the cause of expanding the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is unique. Right? So we have many wonderful examples of Grihastha devotees. So like Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the pinnacle of, like he was namesake, he was a Grihastha devotee. So like we see that, devotee in Brahmacharya ashram, his schedule and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's schedule, so putting together all his, magistrate duty, more than that, like, a brahmachari may be doing material activity. So even there he was inspiring people to like take up Krishna consciousness, right? So but like sometimes brahmachari, like being in the ashram, he is inspiring other people, like how not to be. So we should see that we should be like more engaged in Krishna consciousness. Like we should be very, very eager. How can I be engaged fully and very intensely in the service of the Lord? So, and then Prabhupada is citing Prabodhananda Saraswati, Durdantendriya Kala Sarpa Patali, Vodkata Damstrayate. So for a person who is engaged in the service of the Lord, so it is like the serpent, the senses are no doubt, they are serpent, and they are the most dangerous entities to be with. Like to enjoy the association of the senses means to be in the association of like very fearful, deadly snakes. And these senses are quite dangerous. So, but then for a person who is engaging the senses constantly in the service of the Lord, so then he doesn't need to fear, because like the senses are like serpents whose fangs are removed. So they are no more dangerous. So for a devotee, personally for oneself, he should be very careful that like the clause is there. It is not that once the fangs are removed, for a material serpent, once the fangs are removed, So then like the serpent is harmless, no, henceforward. So but for a sadhaka, no, if he is engaged in service of the Lord for 1 hour, for that time like he is safe. No, after that any material activity he gets engaged, then immediately the senses develop the fangs. No, immediately it starts biting the devotee. No, so that is why it is very important. This clause is very very important. No. However, if a venomous serpent is bereft of his poisonous fangs, it is no longer fearful. Similarly, if the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no need to fear their activities. The devotee in Krishna consciousness movement move within this material world, but because their senses are fully engaged in the service of the Lord, they are always aloof from the material world. They are always living in a transcendental position. So many times devotee, quote this, see, Prabhupada is telling devotee in transcendental position, and they don't have any fear in the material world. So while citing this, sincere sadhaka will cite, the thing is, the clause is that, I have to be engaged in service of the Lord nicely. So other devotees are engaged very nicely, but I am not engaged very nicely in the service of the Lord. So I am, even while engaging in service, my mind is not absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. So what kind of service I am doing? So I need the shelter and protection of the Lord, right? So somebody who says that I am in transcendental position, I am a devotee, I am engaged in service, that means he is giving up the shelter of the Lord, right? So a person who says that I am engaged in service of the Lord, but it is not proper. No, I am not doing the proper service. So I need the shelter and protection of the Lord. I need the shelter and protection of the spiritual master. So I always need protection. So that is the mode of a devotee. Like a devotee is always finding himself like some reason or other. He finds and he says like, I am the most patita and I am the first one to claim for the mercy of the Lord. Right. So he is always arguing his case that I am the most fallen and I need the mercy, right? So in that way, like a devotee is always in the transcendental position. So but a person who puts himself in the transcendental position, or he thinks himself in the transcendental position, vimukta maninas, so then he is patantiyata. He becomes like he falls from his position. But if he is always convincing the Lord that I am not properly situated, I need your help and support. So then the Lord is very favorably disposed towards him, and he is always offering him shelter. So he never falls. So a person who always fearful of being falling, and always tightly gripping the lotus feet of the Lord and the names of the Lord. So such a person, he will not fall. And a person who thinks that I will not fall, he will definitely fall. So, that is why this one is. So, like one famous this one anecdote of Prabhupada is there. So, Prabhupada says, like, Maya cannot touch me. And then the other day, like, he's praying to the Lord, very sincerely. So, and then, the devotee asked, like, Prabhupada, what are you praying? So, like, I'm praying that, please save me from Maya. So then, devotee asked, like, you told that Maya cannot touch you. So because I'm praying like this, Maya cannot touch me. So the confidence of the devotee is that, so I am so fallen and I am taken shelter of the Lord. And how can the Lord leave me? No, the Lord cannot leave me. So Lord will definitely protect me. So having the faith on the protection of the Lord is very important. Rakshayishiti Vishwasu. It is not that I am engaged in devotional service, I will not fall. No, it is not like that. It is the Lord is my protector. How can I fall? No, I will not fall. So having faith in the Lord's capacity and not faith in one's own capacity, right? So that is a natural disposition of a devotee, that he has immense faith in the protection of the Lord, right? So that is how he feels secure. Otherwise he will get into depression. So I am so fallen and so kuch ho nahi payega and things like that. So then that is this one. So I cannot do anything. I am not so so expert in rendering devotional service. But my Lord is very compassionate. I am always praying to Him, and He will definitely protect me. So that faith on the capacity of the Lord. So that is very nice. So with this, we pause the discussion here. Any questions or comments? Yes, Paul?
Very nicely told that, like how this verse doesn't encourage interest ashram or any particular ashram as such. And how both ashrams are individually one has to see them. So here So you were saying like the point is to engage in service of Lord and purify our senses. So like so one should see this thing like where I will get better opportunity to engage our senses. Like, this should be the right
Yeah, this should be the condition. How I can enhance my devotional service to the Lord. So that should be the condition. So that is why many times when we go and take blessings, from the senior devotees, so that I want to join ashram or something like that. So then they bless. Generally they bless, saying that always be engaged in the service of the Lord. Like that kind of blessings they give. So they don't. Many times the senior devotees, they don't give blessings saying that okay, nice, like you join and things like that. So many times they don't give joyous and encouraging response because they see so many people coming in, going out, and so many people doing so much of this one. There are many unsettled grahasthas and there are many unsettled brahmacharis. So they try to see that kidhar na kidhar to settle ho jao. Somewhere or other, like find your solid devotional service and be engaged in the service of the Lord nicely. So that is the aspiration. That is the thing that they look for. So one more person in the ashram or one more person in the grahastha ashram, it doesn't make much difference. But if a devotee solidly be situated in the service of the Lord, he can contribute tremendously to the mission. So that is why they offer blessings like that.
So one should see that where he can better engage and so in ISKCON scenario we see because in the purpose previous purpose of this also I was reading this in so Prabhupada writes that as you also wrote, in that yuga it was not there that if you accept the ruling of the kingdom then you have to accept wife and opulences and all. But in ISKCON scenario we see that one can have leadership.
What leadership, not country leadership. What leadership tabhi lete the. And also here also again Prabhupada established this one that sannyasis also manage different zones and then preach and things like that. So there also Prabhupada made it very clear that they have to be engaged good amount of time in Krishna consciousness. They have to give classes. So Prabhupada told sannyasis at least they should give one class a day. So minimum. So that is like that. Prabhupada has given so many this ones. And apart from that, here there is need of this service. So to go about and spread Krishna consciousness, and when we are spreading the Krishna consciousness, there is need of managing the resources that Krishna is actually giving us. So that is also needed. So that service, as approved by the Acharya, so we should do that. But we should not go to manage the common people. So ISKCON devotees, ISKCON sannyasis are not engaged in managing common people, right? So that is not this one. So there we need to still. What is that? So don't take me wrong. In Kali Yuga, sannyasis can become the kings. It's not like that.
Within devotee communities, they can serve.
So if needed. So within devotee community, Prabhupada says a sannyasi also can take the role of a shudra or a brahmana or a vaishya, or whichever position it is there. So within the devotee community, so they can assume different roles to render service to the Lord, because here there is nothing else apart from devotional service that is there, right? So for that reason, so that is possible, but not in the material management.
One can engage in service senses even if and purify them in brahmachari ashram also. It's not that just for engaging senses one has to go to grahastha.
So but if he needs that security, so then he needs to go. Yeah. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So you were saying that how we can, when we engage in Lord's service, then automatically senses will be controlled. We practically also see that many times when we engage in Lord's service, there is much distractions. But similar case when we engage in material activities also, overworking in company, absorbed in some material activity, still we not able to feel such distractions like lust or some any other things. But main difference, what we can see.
See, material activity, how do you make any activity as a material activity or spiritual activity? a devotee, after accepting Krishna consciousness, as the process, he cannot do any material activity. So then, like, how does it warrant that we go to office and work? So, like, a devotee does as much as it is needed, for maintaining his life and for propagating Krishna consciousness. So that work cannot be termed as, strictly cannot be termed as a material activity, right? So a devotee can do no material activity, no. So like every day morning we chant, right? This one, like even after understanding all these instructions, like, and having material, attachments and things like that. So he should do work not for like gaining some promotion or not for gaining some like this one, like excelling in the material side. He should do this because I have to maintain my Krishna conscious family, and for that, like, I need to have some occupation and I need to earn, a little bit of sum. And for that purpose, I will earn. And the first given opportunity when I am able to see that my faith in the Lord has increased, and then I am able to either like my financial status is good enough, or my faith in the Lord is increased, that I will depend on the Lord fully, I will quit this game, right? So with that mood, if he is working, so then it is called also devotional service. It is not called as material activity. So material activity will disturb, a devotional activity will not disturb, this one. So that's why we should do this activity as a devotional service. We should not do, a devotee can do no material activity. There is no question of a devotee doing any material activity. Right?
But many times it's outsiders, like not devotees, people who are engaged more in material activities. Still, we can see that they are not distracted.
They are distracted. We should take it from the scriptures. Yehi samsparsha ja bhogad, and then like other many shlokas are there. So senses and sense objects coming together, not for the purpose of pleasing the Lord, satisfying the Lord, they are distracted. So they are highly distracted. Maybe like they are able to maintain some status quo for some time, but they cannot be able to maintain that for a long period of time. Okay? So a person who is very low in his consciousness, he'll be highly distracted. And a person who is very, very highly advanced in his consciousness and he has gone to the level of Brahman realization, even he also has to get distracted. Maybe his distraction comes once in many years, but then distraction has to come, right? So the frequency of distraction may vary, but then they are distracted because they are engaged in material activities. So somewhere or other they have to get like hit somewhere, and they'll have to become distracted. So, like some material things that they are clinging on to, so they are like little long lasting. So a materialist in the mode of goodness, he may be looking like very less distracted. A mode of passion, little more distracted, and mode of ignorance, heavily distracted. Right? So just that because they are in the mode of passion and they are able to show some good consistency and things like that, so it doesn't mean that they are very solidly situated. So they will be like attracted by lust, anger, and things like that. Everything will be there. This is the biggest. This one, this what do they call that? Social etiquette and things like that. So maintaining the decorum and stuff like that. So they behave very nicely. So that's like a behavioral skill. So सब कुछ अंदर दबा के like अच्छे से like they behave very nicely, and it is very external actually, very external. So under the like itna sadhaka is having so much battle, like they will definitely have Kurukshetra within. They are not peaceful at all. Definitely. We should not have that illusion that they are peaceful. Even if they are not, even if they are peaceful, it's guaranteed that their peace will not last long. So it cannot be possible. So when people say that like we are happy, we see sometimes devotee go and say like this one you accept this Bhagavad Gita, follow this, you will become happy. And then people respond saying that, no, what do you think, I'm sad or what? I'm not begging to people in the street like you. So then devotee's response is that, yeah, like, you may be experiencing happiness, but there is temporary happiness is there in this material world. So we are offering permanent happiness. This happiness what you are enjoying, that is not permanent. It will be there for only short time. So that is our response. Like, they will not. You cannot sustain this for a longer period of time. do you really say that demons, although they are always absorbed in Lord Krishna, they attain the highest of truth? But that absorption is propelled by, you can say, envy. So how does these qualities translate into transcendental? Are these always like ignored by Krishna? And he is only seeing that, okay, he is only absorbing me, irrespective of whatever the intention is behind. These are ignored. How exactly? See, the intensity of remembrance of the Lord is very amazing, that it purifies a living entity. You know? So one may be of any nature. Just like in the same section, Shukadeva Goswami actually mentions that you touch the fire lovingly or with hatred, the fire will burn you. In the same way, like you approach the Lord with hatred or love, so the Lord will purify you. So the Lord's nature is that He purifies the living entity. And if somebody is very intensely absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord, whatever may be the reason is, like he will become purified. So, but then the sadhana that a person practices, and the cultivation of mood that a person practices, and then the parampara, the devotee whom he follows. So all these things also matters. So the demons, they achieve till the level of Brahma Jyoti, like they merge in the existence of the Lord. So they don't get the position in the spiritual planet. They don't get the service in the spiritual planet. So only with few exceptions, like Putana, she got the position of mother, because she had the desire to feed Krishna. So her some sadhana was there. She had some good desire. So like that. So in general, the demons attain the position of Brahma Jyoti. So because only purification from material existence, material contamination, you will attain the position of Brahman, right? So with the purification of senses, we should also have desire to render service to Krishna. So then you will enter into the realm of Vaikuntha or Goloka, right? So that is very essential, the desire to render service to Krishna. So now, like the demon, so he was very much intensely absorbed in the thought of the Lord, but he didn't have any desire to render service to Krishna. So he will end up in Brahma Jyoti, because he so intensely focused on Krishna, all his material qualities became purified by the power of Krishna. So he attained the Brahma Jyoti. So, but he will not be able to get the association of the Lord and render service to the Lord and things like that. So that's categorical answer. But then here he is, these people are Jai Vijay, so they go back to the position and render service. So, but the scenario in itself, discreetly if we analyze, so then if any other demon were to go through the same scenario, he will attain Brahman.
Material activity is not possible. What is the steps of how to control the material activity?
So we do everything spiritual activity. So now if I do a spiritualist also sleeps, a materialist also sleeps. A spiritualist also do his work, materialist also do his work. So everybody is doing this one. So but a spiritualist, he is doing the work based on direction given by Krishna. So Krishna says that you sleep in this way, you get up in this way, you do your work in this way, and things like that. So when we do things according to how Krishna gives direction, so then it is called spirituality. And if you do things according to our own wish and desire, so then it becomes material. So spiritual means as directed by Krishna. When we read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not telling you give up everything and come. So Krishna is telling if you want to be engaged in the material world, so then you be engaged in this particular way. So then when we follow Krishna's instruction, then that becomes spiritual. Right? So that is the difference, material and spiritual. Under the guidance of Krishna, it becomes spiritual. Without guidance of Krishna, it becomes material. So first we have to learn Gita, understand instructions of Krishna, and accordingly when we do the things, it becomes spiritual. ठीक है, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय और भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।